What's up, everybody?
Hey guys.
It's kind of ridiculous that we have to do this, but we're gonna film a video about James. We're gonna explain some of the just outright lies that are out there, and we're going to actually have a call with James's sister, April, who we worked with hand in hand.
Very closely.
Within a couple of days of starting to help James, she came into our lives and worked in day out with us to make decisions for him, along with James's father, to try to lead and steward everything that was done for James the best that we knew how, what the family wanted. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
How far that this has gotten. This is nothing short of a fictitious witch hunt. There are some people out there that truly care about James, us included, immensely, but the majority of the people that are involved in this,
that are behind all of this,
do not care about James.
Yeah.
This is a fictitious witch hunt to try to get at us. They stop at nothing to try to ruin anything and everything in our lives. This has gone too far. And so here in a minute, we're going to hop on a call with April, and she is going to share some details. This is an interesting situation because there's some details that we're just not going to share.
I mean, can I pause you right
Yeah.
there? We are talking about a human life. You know, people do GoFundMes every day for charities, for people that are injured in the hospital, for businesses they want to start up. People do GoFundMes for a variety of things. And while I understand that there are people that want to be invested, again, like you said, half the people, if not most of the people that are behind this witch hunt, do not care about James's well-being. They do not care about where James is today. They just genuinely want to try to see us. This is a human life. There are things that do not need to be released to the public for any reason at all. There are things that we do not owe an explanation for because he is where he needs to be. He is where we said we were going to take him, and he is doing incredible now. And that is why we are so fired up, is this has gone way too far. This is the bad side of the internet. The internet can do great things. We saw it with James. James is literally out of rehab, on his feet, has been on his own feet for quite some time now. But there are dark sides to the internet, and that is where the line is being drawn today.
Hopping on a call with him without discussing prior to ask his consent and just recording is completely inappropriate.
Yeah.
There is a reason that James never appeared on really much of our stuff.
He was on my stories, but he never wanted to talk.
No.
And I never made him, and I never would make him talk.
Yep.
Like, that's
and a
not
lot of that was actually at the request of his family, because James is a very shy person.
I'm going to stop you there. His family knew that we were sharing on social media. His
Yeah.
family followed me. They literally saw everything that I posted. I mean, April will say it herself here in a little bit on the call. They could not thank us enough because they had tried this before and it didn't work. And what we did for James, how we helped James get on his feet, the long nights and the crazy hours of trying to get him there.
And we'll get into all that,
Yeah.
but a couple of things that are just outrageous is to say, oh wow, you look different. No kidding. You think he doesn't need to give you proof of who he is?
Yeah.
This video that's out there where this lady says, oh, you look different, people didn't believe it. He doesn't have to prove who he is.
Yeah.
Like anything like that. And we're going to explain a lot of the stuff that was in that video. Some of it we're not. And some of it were not at the direction and the wishes of his sister. There are things that we're not going to try to prove to some internet trolls that we didn't do anything inappropriate. We are not going to put James on blast and share things that could be embarrassing or damaging to him. Just to suffice some internet trolls that do not care about James, that just want to come after us. Consider yourself put on notice. Because this is ridiculous. Y'all can make fun of us. Y'all can say stuff about us. We don't care. We truly, legitimately do not care. But when you drag an innocent person into something like this that is so bogus, that's where it's got to stop. And that's the justification and the reason for this video. How offensive to say that he was in a halfway house. Halfway houses are for people that are coming out of jail.
Yeah, I have a definition right here that I would love to read. A residential facility where people leaving prison or jail, sometimes completing a condition of probation, are required to live before being fully released into their communities.
So James was somehow a criminal now? No, he was a person struggling with an addiction, like so many people in this country do.
Yeah.
Like I said, when we get into this call with his sister, who communicated with us on a daily basis, we're going to let her dictate what we share. And there's a reason that James isn't on this video, and that is because that is just going to re-victimize and exploit him. They are in communication. We had been in communication, and y'all need to also back off Cruz, because Cruz was nothing but amazing.
Literally the most incredible man.
They're family, and y'all are trying to throw him under the bus like he did something wrong. No one did anything wrong here. We set out to help someone who was in need, and we'll get into some explanation. James didn't just receive $6,000, and it was just short of 2 months that James was with us. We'll get into this more when we're with April. We're not independently wealthy to fully support someone living in a hotel who has nothing. All of the money that was donated sustained James and his life from the time he entered our care until he went to rehab in Ohio. And then, in fact, sustained more while he was at rehab. The rehab center was free, but James's living expenses were not free. His cigarettes were not free. His spending money wasn't free. That all went to support him. Not one single dollar was used inappropriately. Every single dollar went to James that was donated to James. We're going to have April on, and we'll let her share from the family's perspective. There's some claims out there that will not be addressed, because we are not going to re-victimize or exploit James just to answer a question put forth by an internet troll who really doesn't care about James. Stay tuned, because this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, we are gathered on this call because this has gotten absolutely ridiculous. Obviously, I'm Jordan, and that is my wife, Brittany. And this is our dear friend, April, who a lot of you guys out there will recognize is James's sister. And we felt it necessary to make this video to just silence a lot of the unfactual, unbased allegations out there around Brittany and I, James, April herself. And so it is absolutely ridiculous that we are having to do this.
And I'm so glad to see you.
We are glad to see you. And that's what the trolls don't realize, is that we are, we've never really left one another's lives. And we've stayed in contact via social media, and but wanted to start with asking or stating that, April, we had a conversation prior to this asking your permission to record this conversation, correct?
Oh, yes.
And that is one of the most glaring things that stands out to me in this video, where James is basically tricked into giving an on-camera interview where they already have him being filmed. And if you notice, they ask him and they say he doesn't say yes or isn't exuberant or excited about it. He's like, okay. And the three of us know James quite well, obviously you being the best out of any of us, April, but that, knowing him, that does not, that he was not okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this goes in so many different directions. So y'all are going to have to bear with me. First of all, not only do you have my permission to videotape this, you have my permission, James's permission, James's dad's permission, and my husband's permission.
Yeah.
I requested permission for all of the men in my family that this could potentially affect. I spoke to my brother for over an hour today, speaking with him because when Jordan and I had our initial conversation, James had agreed to call Jordan. But at this point, public, James doesn't want to deal with this anymore.
Yeah.
Period. He doesn't. And he is allowing me to come on here and speak on his behalf. So that way, hopefully, you guys will learn to leave him alone.
Yeah, because we can agree, April, the video done of James, it may somewhat appear that that person cares about James, let's call a spade and be real. That person, that is a fictitious witch hunt trying to get at Brittany and me. Let's not get it mistaken that that person is out to seek the truth for James's benefit. We're going to share the truth.
It's for likes and views, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, which is totally hypocritical, because every day, I can't believe she's posting this.
Yeah.
That's what a social influencer does.
Yeah.
I can't even think of it. However, this leads into this. When Brittany and Jordan met James on April 4th, yes, I've done my research, 2021, he walked into a church after being on the road since March 15th, 16 days. He left the San Antonio area on March 15th, Monday night. I last saw him in New Braunfels on St. Patrick's Day and bought him a new phone on 3/17. From 3/17 to 4/4, he walked from here to there. When Brittany and Jordan met James, he was probably at an ultimate low. I saw the comments on the Reddit versus the TikTok video versus what Brittany had posted. Is that the same man? Yes, that was the same man. And what I want to show you guys, just as further proof, because we know y'all want the receipts. This is the picture of when James got to San Antonio. Brittany and Jordan, can you see it? Or is it still super blue? It's just glary. Anyhow, so this is the picture that James and I took when he arrived in San Antonio, when I attempted at that point to get him into a Christian ministry, because that's where he wanted to go, a Christian ministry. He had been in one before. He had been in a rehab. He had been in a detox place for his troubles, okay? His choice when he came here was not to go to a shelter. His choice was not to go to a rehab facility. His choice was to go to a Christian ministry, because James is really, really, really smart, okay? He's funny, but he's super smart. And James realized that rehab is going to be one part of the problem. It might solve one part of the problem. This other option might solve another part of the problem. But due to his past in the Christian ministry that he dealt with in the past, they housed him, they fed him, they helped him to fight his addiction, they helped him to get work. And after he had gone through all of that, they also allowed him to continue to live there. So James wasn't just thinking, I need to get clean, because quite honestly, when he got here, he was clean. He didn't slip. Okay, so that was a picture that I took within 4 days of him getting to San Antonio. And this was after hitchhiking from Arizona to here. Y'all are looking for proof? Please look at the shirt that I am wearing in this picture. Please look at the shirt that I am wearing right now. It's intentional. My Reddit handle is Beautiful Disaster 916. 2 years ago, when I became incensed and found out through the internet what was going on, I went on there and I created a page to defend myself, to defend my brother, and to defend the actions that Brittany and Jordan were taking. Why? Because my brother had been on the road for 16 days. He was dehydrated. He had stopped contacting me. He had stopped contacting other people. Okay. And it wasn't until then, until whatever you call it, whether it be God, divine intervention, call it a scam. I don't care. My brother was dehydrated, malnourished, and homeless. Okay? Period. Anybody in their right mind would have done what Jordan and Brittany did that day, and Cruz as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Due to Brittany's social status, this thing blew up bigger than any of us imagined it would. Okay. And from day one, she was criticized for doing it because of her past. Well, guess what? She was an answered prayer to me. So you guys can be pissed off all you want. You can talk all the crap that you want about me defending Brittany and Jordan's actions. I had no idea of their past. James had no idea of their past. All we knew was that there were these people who had given him a bed, a haircut, a shower, a food, pack of cigarettes, comfort. They say that the cure for addiction is connection. James left San Antonio because he and I were not getting along, because I have a family of my own, and the lifestyle that he slipped into from this picture to 10 months later, March 17th, was not a lifestyle that I wanted to subject my children to. So I made the unbearable decision to tell him that he was no longer welcome at my home. Did it break my heart? Yes. But this is not the first go around that I've had with my brother with this. And I'm going to respect his privacy, but I'm going to tell you that I am 43 years old and I have been dealing with this on and off for the last 21 years. There are a lot of things that people assume about my brother, and I'm going to tell you this. In all of this, he's innocent. Okay? He is not to be used as a tool or a knife to slam in Brittany and Jordan or even my back. Y'all need to understand that. When I spoke with him today, his words were, I just want this to be done. Which brings me to another point. Brittany and Jordan did what they did because they created a GoFundMe that exploded, that surpassed every single level that they thought that it was going to go to. Okay. And immediately when they found James, of course, it was on camera. We all saw it. When they spoke to him, they asked who his family was. James gave them my phone number, his dad's phone number. We were two of the first calls that were made probably after the first pack of cigarettes was bought and the first meal was given. No bullshit, y'all. Jordan and Brittany, at the time that they had contacted us, had let us know that the GoFundMe was open and that there was $12,000 in it. And what do they do with it? And the answer from myself, as well as James's father, was, whatever you do, do not give it to him. Because at that point, whenever James would get his hands on money, it would not be to buy those cigarettes or a hotel room for the night or shoes for his feet or clothes for his back. He went to find the quickest numbing agent that he could get his hands on. And with
that's what's so frustrating, April. I hate to interject for a second. That's what's so frustrating is in the video that whoever this person, I saw their TikTok handle or whatever. They honestly don't deserve. I'm not
giving them any more likes.
Yeah, they don't deserve to get any. They have gone above and beyond of exploiting James in this scenario. But what they asked him, what I found important, and we've discussed this, is not necessarily what they asked him, what they didn't ask him. And
exactly.
They didn't.
What was the text that I sent to you? Oh no, now I'm gonna get my phone out because receipts.
Well, the truth of the matter is, it was requested by, he's like, well, I've been kept in the dark by this. And that wasn't at Brittany and I's choice. That was at the request of you and his father.
No, you guys were gonna get the money out of the GoFundMe and put it in his hands and give him a bus ticket to go wherever he wanted to go. And the reason why he was gonna have to take a bus is because on his journey, he didn't have an ID.
Yeah.
He no longer had his identification on him.
Which that's what people out there
were dirty on his back.
Yeah.
A backpack, a Bible.
Yeah.
Do y'all remember criticizing them on that post when he asked Brittany to pray with him and said, geez, couldn't they get him a bigger Bible? That Bible had been in his pocket for months. That wasn't the
Yeah.
Bible that Brittany and Jordan bought for him.
We
That
bought
was
him
the Bible that never left my brother's possession.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
what people don't realize is James's faith is very important to him.
Yes.
And I think it's something that got him through some of his darkest times. And that is well within his right. And yeah, that Bible was his most prized possession. And we did buy him a larger Bible at his request. And what the trolls out there don't understand is we had full permission from James, from you, and from his father to manage his finances during that time. You
To
were
keep
you
him
were
in
so
the dark, to keep him alive, to keep him sheltered, to keep him fed, and to figure out what was next. Because the state that he was in was going downhill fast.
Yeah.
and it was a journey. And we all you on a how many times a day did the three of us talk?
I don't know. It's on an old phone, or else I'd bring up my call history. I swear to God.
I know you would. I know you would. But I mean, I'm not exaggerating. 4 to 5 times a day was low.
Yes, and
We're
all
on
three
speed
of us
dial.
risked employment at that point. Where I worked, I wasn't supposed to be on my phone in case of
I
an
remember that.
emergency. Where Jordan worked at the time,
Yep.
he shouldn't have been making phone calls.
Yep.
What Brittany was doing, running around and making sure that James was where he said that he was going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, this was a collaborative effort.
Yeah. And Cruz was a huge
Poor
Cruz was a
Cruz.
giant, like that's the other thing. And we've talked about that, April. They have crucified Cruz for being involved in this.
Literally
because
the most amazing
once again,
man. His whole family.
they're just trying to get at Brittany and I.
Yeah.
It is one of their
And they're
many
going to
witch hunts.
crucify Cruz when James himself admits, listen, I have a great relationship with Cruz. We still talk on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe the reason why James and Jordan doesn't talk is because Jordan doesn't have a Facebook. Maybe the reason why James was found so quickly all of a sudden is because James is finally in the right mind where he is able to deal with social media.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, for years and years and years and years, it was fuck Facebook. I don't want nothing to do with it. Don't put me on there. He would not keep an email address for the simplest job applications because he did not want to be on the grid. He literally lived off the grid. And I'm going to seg this into something because it's come up 3 or 4 times in my mind, and it's very important. It is crucial, and it's going to lead Jordan to his next question for me. Everybody wants to know why Brittany posted, and then stopped.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, she stopped because I was a thread away from being threatening when I called her and said, do not put my brother's face on the internet again.
Mhm.
Okay. I am my brother's fiercest protector.
Mhm.
I love him with all my heart. I'm 5 years older than him. And throughout our lives growing up, we bonded a lot. We didn't have an easy life growing up, but that's none of your business.
Yeah.
He and I are close. We still are close. We definitely were estranged for a while, and that's because I allowed his lifestyle to affect mine. And when I started my family in November of 2010, when I found out that I was 3 weeks pregnant, before I moved to Texas, I told my brother, who was living with me at the time, you've got to get on your feet. I cannot do this anymore. I've done it X amount of times for X amount of years, and I'm going to be a mom of my own child now. I cannot continue to bail you out. And from that point forward, within a month, I moved from the state that I lived in to here in Texas. And I didn't talk to my brother until my stepfather, his dad, so we're half brothers and sisters because we have the same mom, called me to let me know May of 2020 that my brother was coming to San Antonio to find me. I've kept the same phone number for 12 years because I never know when my brother's going to need to call me. My phone number is not from the state that I live in, but it's ingrained in his mind. And when he gets in trouble, no matter what, I'm going to answer. I might not have the solution. I might not be able to bail him out, whatever situation he is. I'm not made of money. I'm a commoner. I'm not rich. I'm not famous. Neither is James, and he shouldn't be. This is not what we asked for. And I'm sure that Brittany and Jordan will both agree that they want it to stop just as much as James and I do.
I think that it's really easy for whatever reason, there are an immense amount of trolls that dislike Brittany. And now in turn, thankfully, I am the gracious beneficiary of a lot of those same trolls. And they don't realize that, yeah, we would love for this. It's not even, it's come after us, say we're terrible people, do what you do on a daily basis that runs your life. Because apparently there's a lot of folks out there that don't have a life of their own.
Yeah.
It's certainly despicable that people have time to follow Brittany 24/7 and then pass the bullshit along. It certainly is.
Yeah, they choose to criticize
those same people could take that time and energy into helping somebody else. And I'm not saying that y'all don't, but I don't see those posts. I only see the hate.
Yeah.
Well, what I was going to say is I would love for this to go away, but as difficult and prior to the fraudulent claims of any stealing of money or misuse of money and hiding this from James and all this jazz, would we do it again? 1000%.
Yeah.
And I told my brother that today. Because
I could not live with myself, nor could Brittany, nor could Cruz, knowing that we had the ability to positively impact a life. Like, the proof is in the pudding. It's so cliche, but I hate to say it, but when people question whether you're the same person as a previous picture or a post, now that they've seen you healthy, that says everything.
Yeah.
And he is the same heart. That's the thing. I can't tell you how infuriating it makes me, April, that they exploited him in a video to prove people want to know. It's none of your business, people. It's none of your business. Let the guy go and live his life that he has completely turned around, and because they're trying to get at us.
Listen, it was an answered prayer, and it may have been my prayer. Obviously it was James's prayer. Okay. Yeah. And at this point, the only person who needs to worry about what the money was spent on is James.
Yeah. Not
the rest of the world. Yeah. And if James is that concerned about it, he'll call Jordan. They'll work it out.
Well, and April, we talked about this in your conversation and on purpose, because it is none of your business of the people who are watching this video.
It's none of my business.
Well,
but here I am.
Well, it is.
But it is, April.
the people watching this video, it is none of their business.
Yeah.
Right.
But in your conversation, correct me if I'm wrong, April. I want to find the right way to say this, because in no way
say it just how I said it. I don't care.
In no way will we share information. No one else, no troll, no one else. Nobody's sitting in their basement typing on Reddit was present when the three of us plus Cruz were fighting to help James turn his life around. And so, correct me if I'm going to
say this because it was out there. Windows had to be repaired. Hotel rooms had to be moved because there was shady shit going on in the lobby that y'all knew was not a good situation for James. Y'all, they didn't put him in a Motel 6. They didn't find a pay by the hour hotel. Okay. He had, and these are his words when he called me, I feel like a celebrity. He says, you will never believe this suite that I'm in, April. It is so sweet. And he would have been perfectly happy with the corner room. He would have been happy with the broom closet of somewhere if he wouldn't have gotten in trouble. But he was put up, and it was on a video in a very posh hotel room.
And it wasn't the Ritz-Carlton. It was, but you're so correct. It was a thing. We had him in a hotel that was ultimately a bad decision on my part because it exposed him to the exact life that we were trying to get him out of. And we decided to move him to a much nicer hotel in order to where there was better security, where we developed a relationship with the front desk staff to help us, because we are not, just as you mentioned earlier, we are not independently wealthy. Brittany has a job. I have a job. When you are helping someone through a dark period like that, it is a full-time job, and we needed all the help we could get. And
how many nights were we up on Messenger FaceTime?
More than I can count. And
I remember so many nights past like 1 a.m.
Oh yeah,
so many nights.
I remember standing in my garage listening to the radio, being on the Messenger with y'all while you were driving around looking for him.
Yeah.
Because he'd slipped under the radar.
There was multiple times where we had to go.
Y'all.
There was multiple times where we had to go find him again. And there was let's just, like I said, I refuse to do what these people have done, and that is exploit James. We have never.
And where the
James.
money went was supporting him during that time.
Yep.
And after.
Yeah.
And then the balance was sent. And that is my understanding. Now, whatever the balance was, is, maybe, again, it's not your business.
Well,
okay.
April, that's my business.
Before you guys think, and I'm not talking you and you and Brittany, Jordan, before you guys think that money was not spent, or that it was spent on the Nelson's wedding or whatever, do me a favor, go out there, find somebody who is under a bridge, rebuild their lives for them in a matter of 30 days, meeting that person's criteria of where they want to go, how they're going to do it, never giving up on them, and come back to me, Beautiful Disaster 916 on Reddit, and you tell me how cheap it was.
Yeah.
In his video, when they say all he received was $6,000, that was the remainder of the fundraiser. After, as you said, he had nothing. He had, when we, I don't know that we've ever discussed this, April, when maybe we did.
We did.
And
I know what he left here with. I do.
Well, when we encountered him,
a backpack.
He wasn't wearing his boots because his boots were flopping apart at the sole. He was walking in socks. Actually, excuse me. He had a second pair of shoes that he had gotten from the Salvation Army along the journey from San Antonio to Fort Worth. And can't quote me, but I think I remember James being around a 10. They were 14s. It's all they had.
By the way.
Huh?
He is a 10, by the way.
I think I remember that. Because then that's.
No, I'm talking about in general. My brother's a 10. He was in a rough patch in his life.
That's the other, instead of celebrating what people don't know, because they are so focused on trying to tear Brittany and I down, and they just cannot fathom that in their head, they have made up that we are such monsters. They cannot fathom that we would actually help someone.
Y'all didn't help him though. Y'all saved his life.
Well,
and our time is running out, and I'm going to interrupt you again because I want to make sure that I get this point clear. James didn't go to Ohio because Brittany and Jordan wanted them out of his hair. They exhausted options from San Antonio to Houston to Dallas, Fort Worth. Problem is, as y'all have seen, we smoke. Facilities do not allow smoking. James went to 2 or 3 down here in San Antonio before he decided to leave and checked himself in to attempt to get help. Guess what? They either wanted to quarantine him and lock him up for 2 weeks to make sure that he didn't have COVID, or they wouldn't allow him to have a cigarette. And I'm sorry, I didn't make it 45 minutes without one. Now you add somebody who has the mental state that James was in at that point in time. You add that just a cigarette can cure that anxiety and being told no, you're going to hear "F you" a lot.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
We had him accepted to a program here in Fort Worth, and it was a no smoking facility. And
Yep.
it ended up being that everything happens for a reason, because he went to the place that he was meant to go to. And
Yes.
wonderful, amazing people at Alpha House, and everyone wants to criticize. It's a free Christian ministry.
That's what he
Okay.
wanted.
He wanted a Christian ministry, and they're criticizing the fact that it's free, and we had this money for him. That's where he wanted to go, and they wanted him. And also,
But after 2 weeks of trying to convince him to go.
after a while
Fighting
of trying to
tooth and
convince him to
nail.
go. But the money that was raised for him, they don't
Followed him
provide.
there.
They don't provide like spending money. They don't provide money for cigarettes, for sure. They don't provide money for clothing. They put a roof over your head, and they give you food, and they put you through their Christian ministry. And so people are like, oh, of course they chose a free, so we could. No,
James chose that facility, y'all.
and
James chose
and
that.
graduated.
He was given options, and that was his ultimate choice.
And graduated, and was successful. And as you mentioned, April, our time is running short, but is there any, I just want to give you, this is not about
He's got
us.
2 years clean, y'all.
Yeah.
When I talked to him 2 days before Christmas, he says, you do realize that it's been 2 years. 2 years. And I said, what? 2 years since what? And he said, 2 years since I've been messed up.
Wow.
It takes a long time to bring somebody out. And I'm going to tell everybody right now, whether it was $25,103 that got my brother to where he is now, or $10 or $100 to put him on a bus somewhere, what was done saved his life. Period. And he is grateful to Brittany and Jordan for what they did. He told me that today. The only reason why he's not reaching out to Brittany and Jordan right now is because you guys are telling him that he was scammed. So do me a favor. Keep my brother's name out of your Reddit posts, off of TikTok, out of your BuzzFeed articles, or I'm going to consult an attorney for slander, because I'm tired of an innocent person who needed a lot of help being used as a knife in somebody else's back. He doesn't deserve this. And he's only not on this Zoom call right now because he wants his internet fame to be over. So when this call ends, it's 15 minutes and 1 second. His 15 minutes is done. Leave him out of your posts. Thank you.
Bye, April.
Bye.
We'll talk
April.
soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Love you guys.
We love
love
you
you too.
too.